Hello. Testing.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Euphoria Aftershow, presented by the Hollywood Critics Association. So glad that you are joining Morgan and me, Ryan, today.
Yeah. I mean, we're on episode 4 already, which is crazy. That means we're halfway done with season 2.
Yeah,
already.
Only 8 episodes.
Yeah.
It's not a lot. It's not a lot of time with all of these people. Oh, I think we're getting people in our broadcasts on our computer too.
Oh, Lord. Okay, we're done.
We're watching from all places. We have the computer here, phones here, we have notes everywhere. And so we're ready for this.
We're ready. We're ready.
So glad that you could join us again. This is my sister Morgan. My name is Ryan. We are part of the Hollywood Critics Association. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for many more recaps as well. We also run Cinemacy. We're online at cinemacy.com, a movie review site for indie and art house films. If you're into new movies, check us out there. We're on socials. On Instagram, you can find us at Cinemacy, Twitter at Cinemacy Speaks. And just to get the last order of business out of the way, we are also presented by the very gracious sponsor, the Happy Labs, which is a CBD company based out of Manhattan Beach, California. They are fantastic people. They make fantastic products. CBD only, no THC is in them. So what you're getting is just the most relaxing, restful products
right.
for.
And I feel like we say this every week, but with a show like Euphoria, that's just so insane all of the time, and there's so much tension and drama, it does really help to have something a little bit more relaxing to watch the show. So we take some CBD before sometimes, and it just makes it a little bit easier to comprehend and to just not stress out so much. So if that's something you're interested in, we do have a special 20% off code. That's going to be HCA at the Happy Labs. And we hope you enjoy it. And if you purchase and it makes a difference, let us know in the comments. We'd be stoked to hear that for sure.
Yes. Couldn't agree more. Very stoked on them and the products. And now, without further ado, let's launch into Euphoria Season 2, Episode 4.
Whew.
The title name is You Who Cannot See, Think of Those Who Can. So I did a little research quickly. Apparently, this title of the episode is a reference to a phrase that was frequently reproduced in the pamphlets by French surrealists. So
wow.
They're going places. They're going dreamy, surreal. It's a lot to comprehend.
Okay.
You who cannot see, think of those who can.
Interesting. I will say, so after watching the episode, which we, just did, and I will say this is a recap, obviously, so it's going to be full of spoilers. So if you have not seen Euphoria episode 4, we recommend watching that first and then coming back to this, but we are going to be talking about everything that happens in episode 4.
Yep.
My big takeaway with this was just, I think I bolded it when I was writing in my notes, that this was an episode that was full of disillusionment, repression, and secrets.
Yes.
So, secrets, that's kind of the obvious one, right? Like there's so many people are holding so many things inside, and the bubbles are starting to come out now, and it's starting to be not something that you're able to hide anymore. And that is what is making this now so fascinating and so exciting. But kind of going back to that point, you who cannot see, think of those who can. I wonder if that's kind of being, they're choosing not to see. Like a lot of people right now have blinders on that are starting to come off. And that's where we're at now in the middle of season 2.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
Just a thought.
I think you're right there. I think you're right on the money. This was written and directed by Sam Levinson, of course, the series creator. I didn't realize that he writes and directs every single episode. I probably didn't notice it before, but it's just a singular vision. And I think you can tell with, the stories, the visuals, the identity from episode to episode. Although this one was once again even more different from the last one. It continues to be unpredictable. But Sam Levinson, it's really from this, singular creative vision.
Yeah, which is pretty fascinating. The fact that he has, and I think you touched on this actually in the last episode or the one before, how every episode up until this point has felt like it's been inspired by a different director. So the first episode, I think we were saying it was more of a Tarantino-esque. It was just so bloody and so in your face. And then was it episode 2 was very Charlie Kaufman-esque, where it was super surreal, or maybe that was episode
I think it was the last
3?
episode where it was very meta and it was breaking the fourth wall.
Okay, so that was episode,
And so this one, now we're getting into French surrealism, perhaps. So I guess that's just a whole lot to unpack there. And I mean, the episode starts off right away with Rue and Jules, and they are just in bed together, or more specifically, won't get into graphic detail. I know this is just YouTube, but it's Rue on the bed, and she's having an intimate scene with Jules, in which Jules, they're having their little, they're fun. And that transfers into this little montage of them going through all of these like different art works and pieces in pop culture moments. I think we were watching this together, and I clocked that you weren't sure how to take that, or it didn't really work. Were you
watching? You watched the show?
I think I heard you at a certain point being like, just not really landing.
I did. I liked it. I did like that scene a lot. I liked the surrealness. I loved the image of Jules as a mermaid, with the hair and just the pose and everything around her looked so beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's a painting, and I didn't have time to look it up, but I think that is some like Lady Madonna or something, mermaid. I don't know.
Right. Well, so I was curious. Oh, my one probably that you maybe heard me say. I just didn't know where this was going at first. So when I saw they were recreating Titanic and then Snow White, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, stick
full
to the
on
narrative.
Animated cartoon at one point.
Right. But then once that kind of ended, which I did think was really funny, and they were pretty spot on with just recreating those scenes.
Brokeback of Titanic.
Right. But what I took away from that was, okay, so this is a fairy tale. And Jules is being idolized in these scenes by Rue as the mermaid, as the princess, as Rose, as this person who needs saving, which I don't think is true, in the sense that Jules is very strong and she is not a victim, and she is, as we see, towards the end, will make up her own mind and do her own thing. Whatever she wants to do, she'll do it.
Yeah.
But it did set up a really interesting perspective of, oh, this is a very like idealized relationship that Rue has with Jules, and she feels like she needs to save her. But as we know, like all fairy tales don't really, traditional ones have a happy ending. Who knows if the more modern day fairy tale does or not? We'll find out probably in episode 8 if it does.
Sure.
But that it kind of brought that to mind. And so I did then appreciate, like, okay, I see what you're doing with this. Like, this isn't just to be weird for weird, cool sake. Like, this makes a lot of sense.
Sure. Yeah. And it explores all of the timeless classic romances in Hollywood and film and media. And so it's, once again, just like being self-aware, poking at, knowing that they are. And plus, like, how do kids talk? They're probably referencing all of these different things. Like the internet is just it's a place for people to, like, it's just one big place for references and fantasy. So that was fun. It was light, unexpected.
Right.
But it showed that that their relationship is where it was presently. They were close. They're together. Of course, Rue is still holding this secret that she's still using. She was on, enough drugs to where she couldn't climax, and she had to fake, it through the episode, which, she thought she did a great job. And Jules called her out, like, did you just fake that?
So funny. And I mean, okay, so everyone watching at home, we are brother and sister. So watching some scenes like that's like, ooh, weird.
Yeah,
but also really funny when she's like,
Oh yeah, the
like,
comedy
what?
was great. Yeah, the fact where she's like exploring just like the tones of the voice and the song.
Oh, that was really funny. And just like, oh, she could be licking my ankle. I would have no idea.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, props to Zendaya continuing to just be super funny.
Yeah,
very comic.
Yeah, no, she was great.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. Could be anything. And then we get a lot of Elliot and Jules. So that cuts right away to Elliot and Jules. Once again, now they're very close. We saw in the episode how close they got. If you were to have asked me now, or if you were to have asked me at the beginning of the season, what I would have thought with Rue and Elliot, I thought that was just like totally like streamlined for them to get together. Yeah, too obvious. Maybe that's one of those things where like the writing of it, you introduce this character on New Year's and it's like, they're going to start doing drugs together and maybe they're going to develop a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the writing like starts out that way, but then you see with the actual actors and like, where it's all going, that it just, the energy is just between Jules and Elliot, because now it's just undeniable, their chemistry. And that all came to a head in this episode, which was, very, very, very interesting to see.
Yeah. And they both have something in common, which is they are kind of at the mercy of Rue and her attitude and temperament. That bond, I think, is also really special. And it is interesting too, how Jules hated Elliot in the beginning. Right. She was threatened by him. She thought he was after Rue, because obviously that's kind of how it was set up to be. We all thought that, I think, that Rue, like you were saying, Rue and Elliot would get together. But seeing those walls kind of come down, that saying that there's a fine line between love and hate, and that's kind of the same emotion, right? But it's just expressed differently. That's kind of how I see maybe the Jules thing. She hated him at first. She was threatened by him. She didn't like him. But also you can kind of turn that on its head and be like, oh, actually, turn this passion into love. It's a strong emotion, and finally it gives way into, and you see why. I mean, Rue is so checked out, she's so absent, and Elliot is this guy who's like, gender fluid, and he's so he's falling for Jules. He's able to relate to her. I mean, there's that scene where he's showing her, teaching her the best way how to, once again, brother, sister, won't get into that, but it's like, how to be with the woman in that way. And that led to them starting to make out. And funny, we were talking about it while the episode was happening, like, oh, isn't it funny that they're now apparently like an item in real life? Right. And if you read TMZ, they are dating in real life, which I ship that.
Ship that. Sounded real natural. I ship it too. Let us know in the comments if you ship
Do you ship their relationship?
Yeah, their relationship.
Or do we sound ridiculous? Let us know. That's fine. Either way.
Yeah, it's fine if it's a little of both, like personally speaking. But I have to say, like, I like where this is going now. I do too. With Jules and Elliot. Like, their chemistry is strong. They feel like they're right together. It feels like the show like just ended up finding the right way to use both of them. And Jules wants a relationship. She wants to be loved. And just them together was right.
Well, and she wants that reciprocated. Right. Like she is such a lover, and she makes Rue feel so good, and that's why Rue is with her. Right. And it is kind of selfish because Rue isn't giving Jules that back. She's just taking it right now because she's absent-minded, because she's using, because as an addict, you are selfish and you're just kind of in that state of mind of, I need my next fix. I. And if I were Jules, like I couldn't put up with that. Like I would need to know that the person I was dating would reciprocate what I was giving. So the fact that she's finding that with Elliot is probably really nice, and just like, oh, this is what it should feel like. Yeah. Yeah, I'm here for it. It's let's keep that going. Yeah. I ship it. We ship it. We stan it. Let us know if you do too. From one relationship drama to the next, we have Cassie and Nate and Maddie. So this sets up what is kind of like the central piece of the story. Well, there's a few, but it's Maddie's birthday. So happy birthday, Maddie. How old is she? Did you catch that? Because I couldn't tell. Oh, I didn't.
No, that's a good
Because
question.
is she 18 or is she 17?
I feel like they would have made a strong point if it was one way or the other.
Right.
Yeah, or 19. Maybe she was held back a year. We don't know the story. Yeah, happy ambiguous birthday to Maddie. If anyone knows how old she is, let us know in the comments because I'm not sure. But it was like a wholesome, just the internal friends. It was at Cassie's and Lexi's mom's house, and she's like the cool parent who's like, I'm gonna let you drink, but if you let anyone know, it's finito burrito, which is kind of like my favorite line. But so but it was like nice and just intimate at the house. But before then, you see that Cassie, oh my God, like she is just still going through it, girl. Like, God, just leave him behind already.
Yeah,
like,
it shouldn't be that hard.
She is struggling every single shot. She's just the biggest puppy dog eyes, and she's just holding back. When she's not holding back tears, she's guzzling, some drink.
What was so funny is that I think I was telling you, in every shot of that whole scene, she was drinking something different.
Right.
And you were like, yeah, no, she's drinking like full on vertical.
And not even sipping it, but it's vertically. Like it is a complete.
And what was so funny is that at the end, before she gets in the hot tub, she's drinking wine, like white wine. Like, Cassie, girl, you've been drinking hard liquor. Like, don't drink wine last. What are you doing?
Like something that was like blue drinking, something like a beer. And I love those shots throughout the episode and that scene where like they would a character would leave the frame and you would see Cassie in the background just kind of like lurking.
You know what? Yes, I actually made a note of that. I felt like that happened twice too. One was at least Cassie drinking, and then you see Lexi observing, and then Nate, and you see Cassie observing Nate by the hot tub.
Right, sure.
And it felt sort of like predator and prey of like I don't know what that means really, but that's kind of what I got. Maybe I've been watching too much Attenborough or something, but it felt like
very primal nature. Well, no, I immediately think about Cal and about what he says at the end. And he basically says, not to jump too far ahead, but like, I'm a man, I'm a Rottweiler. And he says like, what I kill, I want to, like take mine, whatever. So it's like, there is something primal there.
Totally. Totally. Yeah.
So that's interesting. Yeah. To see that 3-way observation.
Yeah. And what was it? Like just the slow kind of push in.
Yeah. There was even just like those zooms that were very obvious, and that feels almost like French New Wavy in a way, but it's like very obvious zooms going on too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all in all, it looked like a fun party. I mean, it was just having fun with the friends, listening to, what's on, the sound system. And
the mom, I fucking love this song. And it was like some weird 2000s rap song.
Something super generic. And she's just like, has like a glass of red wine. Like, I love this.
Totally the mom from Mean Girls, though. Like Regina George's mom, they would be best friends.
I was even thinking when Cassie like made Maddie that present, which was
like the burn book.
It was basically like a scrapbook, which that's awesome that girls apparently are still doing that in this fictional world of Euphoria, like scrapbooking something.
Like physical pictures. That's a good point.
Yeah, not just like sending an Instagram album or something or tagging you in a photo. It's like, I made this, but it was so burn book. So
totally.
Yeah, it's
interesting.
Looked like a fun time. Cassie is so hung up. Her and Nate were, they had that scene where, that was like the biggest like sort of thing that we were able to see a new side of Cassie. Granted, it was kind of a crazy one. She is basically lost it. She's like wants to be with Nate so badly. She's just putting him on blast for being with Maddie, or I guess not, but not being honest. But what was interesting was that she, at the very end, she says essentially, basically she says that she like will just leave, and she threatens to tell Maddie, and he's like, you're going to blackmail me. And she says something like, okay, bye.
That's like, exactly it.
Just the craziest sort of unhinged, unstable, to which Nate then finally, this whole time I love that line delivery. He's just like, what the fuck?
He kind of like built up to it. He's like, what the fuck? It's like,
which honestly, Nate, like, dude, play your cards better, man. Like, this is kind of your doing.
Well, you can't tell two girls you love them. Let me just.
And that's what happens, right? So he tells her he loves her, but it's only after she like takes the power away. It's only when she leaves that he finally says that. So that speaks to his sort of messed up, relationship issues, is that only when these women leave, and there was even a line when he and Maddie were together in one of the montages, he said like, you don't know how much power you have over me to Maddie. And they're just like at the house that she is still babysitting for, which is hilarious. So yeah, it's a weird dynamic that Nate has with love. It's only when they like withhold it that he's able to express it.
Yeah, totally. Well, and one thing too, kind of in that same scene, was Cassie telling Nate, Nate saying like, I am not with Maddie, but I'm not with you.
Right.
And Cassie saying, I will do everything I can to prevent it.
Right.
So who knows what, if she meant that, or if she just said that in the heat of the moment. And if she meant it, what does that mean?
And I mean, I thought that was almost going to tee up her really like trying to come clean or vocalize or do something to like really stop Nate and Maddie being together during this episode. We didn't exactly get that. It was more of an involuntary reaction, but it was still
barf.
Yeah, that was that was gross.
That was really gross. And it was on her chest.
And it was like 3 times. Usually like in a TV show or movie, it's kind of like, they only have the budget for one. But then it was like a second time and then a third time. And by that time, Maddie is kind of dry heaving. And I'm like, are they going to do the double vomit? Like that, everyone starts into the jacuzzi. Nate's just covered like, what the fuck?
My favorite though is the mom pulling her out and help me.
Yeah. What did she say? She's like, get out of the pool or something. She's struggling.
And then Cassie's just dead weight in there. She's just pulling her out.
Struggling.
Barf on her chest.
That whole time, Grace is taking notes, right? Grace. Oh, Lexi. I'm sorry. That was
in the play though.
That's her name in the play. That's okay. I immediately made a wrong connection. Kind of similar. So Lexi is making all of these observations and we get the play. And now we know that apparently she's able to put on this like original play that she's writing about the story of her life, which she takes these literal lines from Cassie. And do you think that this is going to end well?
Well, no, of course not.
Kind of teed you up for that.
But interesting, because that's kind of what you predicted. Like, I wonder if Lexi is going to be writing the story of her life and Euphoria High is going to produce it, which apparently that's happening.
Right.
But I'm so curious to know what the point of the story is and why she's even doing it in the first place.
Well, it seems to be that, like, I mean, kind of going back to how you opened the episode, that like this is all because people have secrets and it's all just being hidden. Maybe like the only way they are thinking that they can literally expel these things is like, we have to put it into a play that everyone can see, with each other so that it just has to be acknowledged. Maybe that as like a writing device is the only way where they're able to they've kind of put themselves in that corner. Like, how else are we going to be able to like just air everyone's dirty laundry at the same time?
Well, one thing that was interesting that you brought up in the last episode or 2 episodes ago was I remember you're like, I hope they don't do this thing where you're casting people who look like the real characters. And you're like, oh, wait, is that supposed to be me?
Yeah.
And so far, the girls that have been auditioning look a hell of a lot like Cassie.
Yeah. How many girls at that high school just look like, Cassie or
blonde hair, blue-eyed.
Yeah. Chesty and like.
We're in LA, I guess. So a lot.
I guess so. Yeah. It's so funny that, the superintendent or the principal is not like, so like, let me see a first draft of that screenplay. Or let me check in on the auditions. And it's like, what the hell? Kid. Yeah.
That's funny.
So the play is happening.
Yeah. I mean, well, what do you think? When you saw that, because that kind of confirmed maybe your speculation of what you thought might be happening, but did that kind of turn you off, or are you indifferent?
Yes. I'm not wild about this being such a strong story point. I mean, all in all, if I was to maybe we'll get to this at the end, but like, if we're thinking about where we are in the season and like what really has all transpired, I think that this is just too low stakes. Like, I hope that they have this play the next episode. They get it out of the way. Don't build it up to a season finale or anything. Because like, this is like, we're getting a lot of shocking, very wild moments, but I've come to expect from Euphoria even more wild, shocking moments. Like, we know that Rue is continuing down this storyline where she is now selling drugs, but like, where was that in this season? She kind of like popped a few and it was like, oh, we know you shouldn't be doing that. But like, all in all to say, I don't think that like a play being put on is like what I think of when I think of Euphoria. I think that it needs to be higher stakes. If anything, keep adding more characters, keep giving Kat more to do. Like, there's just so much more, like, the bottom can really drop out.
Right.
It can just get down to the depths, and it's just, it doesn't feel real.
I will say, so justice for Kat.
Hashtag justice for Kat.
Justice for Kat. So the only pretty much tension, the only thing that happened with her this episode was that she complained that she didn't like her boyfriend.
Yeah, that felt really weird.
And that was it. And like, why is she not getting more screen time? I feel like she's such a strong character and she's the only one who isn't, who's like battling her own personal issues. And it's not like she's needing, well, I mean, I guess kind of this boyfriend, but in a different way, not needing validation from a guy. She's not boy crazy. It's not that. Like, she is just trying to figure things out for herself. And she's so strong. To see her be so kind of pushed aside, or her only problems this season are because of this like little boyfriend she has, feels so demeaning to her.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Really underwriting. I mean, I would fully agree with you. Like, it just didn't feel earned that she is now like, where she's at. It just, they haven't developed her enough. And I agree. Too bad.
But hopefully, I don't know, the second half of the season might.
Yeah, again, just like Ethan, just kick Ethan to the curb and, move on. Like, let's see where Kat can go when she, is a single girl, like, once again. Like, how wild can she be? Like, she can compete with the rest of them. Like, I'm kind of getting a little like sick of even like Cassie just being so manically insane, of like falling over Nate, and it's just like, okay, like there's so much bigger fish to fry here.
Right. Well, and especially knowing that, okay, your best friend is Maddie. You've been best friends for a long time. How do you all of a sudden become so hung up on Nate where you can't control yourself?
Yeah.
Having been around him for a long time, because you've been around Maddie for a long time. Like, this isn't a new guy.
Right.
This is the same guy you've known for at least a few years.
It
it's
has
hard
to be
believe that
something deeper, because we had that last episode where she was waking up at 4 a.m. every week and doing all of the the self like
morning routines and stuff.
The morning routine of just an unhinged person. But like, that was more interesting. That speaks to like just how unstable someone can be. And like, that is a deeper thing than just, I have feelings for a guy. It's like, no, I have self-image issues. And what are the other things that can branch off from there?
Yeah,
and it's like, we got very close to that, but like, she kind of just, the most interesting thing was that now she has like crazy eyes, and she's just like, okay, bye. Like, okay, don't piss her off. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's a good point.
Yeah. Such a great shot where Cassie's lighting the candles for Maddie, which kind of like started that whole thing. And it was just like, it looked like a vigil or something. It looked like she was mourning or at like a funeral, and she was like bringing the candles in. Like, it was a celebration, but it was also like a loss, where it was haunting in a way. And that's just what I got.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like it. I'd buy it.
Yeah. So then that basically, so that introduces us to Nate's about to go to the party. He has a Tiffany's box. Go him. I don't know what kind of job he has to afford that, but he's getting Maddie a good gift, and we see Cal. So Cal
with the bandage on his head.
Cal, the mental patient, is just cackling like the Joker the entire episode. Yeah. He is fully lost it. He's fully out of his freaking mind. Scary. Didn't think that we would get this version of him, but like, it's good that they have the continuity of like the bandage around his face
and the blood leaking out of it too.
Yeah.
I mean, gross, but okay.
Yeah. It was just crazy to see. I mean, he's plastered and he's about to get, into his car. I also have a question. So when he like does the dramatic reveal of takes off the cover to the Jeep, are we like led to believe that like he's housed this Jeep in his garage, but for like 25 years has never driven it? Like, was that supposed to be this thing where like, all right, baby, I'm taking you out.
Taking the Jeep out.
Taking the Jeep. It's like, honey, finally, like it's been just collecting dust.
I think that's just our family that has a Jeep that we never drive.
We do have, yeah. And what's the story behind that?
We should just sell it at this point.
We don't know. But I just love that dramatic reveal of like, finally, I'm going to drive it.
Right.
And it's like, I've done it before.
Also, this whole season is plagued by terrible decisions when it comes to driving late at night.
Right.
And driving drunk and driving really fast.
Good Lord. Yeah. I mean, we saw it happen with Nate, obviously.
Yeah.
That was him drunk driving. And it's like the similarities. I like when they
Nate
show.
Twice.
Yeah. Nate twice. Driving drunk and like not even drunk. Like, okay, I've had 2 beers and now I'm going to drive slowly. It's like, no, I'm going to push this thing as far as I can go.
Right.
I have a death wish. And Cal is just cruising, laughing. He's fully unhinged at this point. He's like, I mean, well, let's think about what's happened to him. So not only does his secret has come out, I mean, to Nate, that he has had this relationship with Jules. There's evidence that's floating around there that it's out there. He now knows that his son has also had, a relationship, albeit like an online one.
Right.
So all of this is coming to a head too. I didn't actually think that we were going to circle back to these moments that happened in the last episode
so quickly.
Yeah, we go back to the gay bar that he hadn't been to for 25 years, and I was keeping track of the songs that were popping up and continuing with In Excess. So the band In Excess from the last episode, all the songs that were playing. And that's
the song he played, or is that the song that was just playing as like atmosphere?
It was the song that was playing with him and his best friend dancing, but then it was also at a few other points too within the last episode. And then they returned to In Excess to in this episode too. So that's very much smart, using the music to tell the story there. Yeah.
One thing too, clearly he's not well right now. He is drunk. He is just feeling like his life is going to explode at any moment. And as he's at this bar, he's passing by these guys and he's doing this with his pinky. Did you notice that?
Right.
Like he just kind of like.
Yeah, that was very creepy. I got the creepy sensation from you, Cal.
It's just like a unwanted, predator, exactly. Like unwanted, don't touch me.
Yeah, they're younger people. I mean, obviously they're 21, they're in a bar or something, but it's like, and then at the end we'll get there too, but like just showing how his like masculine aggression, it gives over to both sexes, male, female, even his family, his wife, his kids. It's like just this unhinged aggression, which is just
it's scary. I mean, you kind of don't blame Nate for being the way he is. And like,
and that's the empathy right there. It's like, once you understand where they come from, it's just like, that's why people, it's at least you have to understand where they come from. Yeah.
That's hard.
So messed up when Cal says like, I'm going to go driving, and Nate says like, don't forget to wear your seatbelt. And Cal's like, okay, Dad. It's like, this is such a weird circular logic. Yeah. So that'll pop back up, but Elliot, Rue, and Jules. So they kind of start hooking up. There's this tension. Truth or dare between them. Yeah, that's always a fun, innocent game that you can play. But
that's high school.
Yeah, that felt very high school.
Felt like high school for the first time this whole episode. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like 10 seconds. I won't look. Close my eyes. But then, there's other things that they're hiding too, of course, right? So like Rue says, I have to go to the bathroom, and then Elliot and Jules start making out, and that felt very high school. Like, ooh, like let's try and get away with this. And then Elliot goes to the bathroom, and there, he moves the red cup, and there's just like this line of drugs waiting for him. But what does he do? He blows it away. So he is now like realizing what's important to him, and maybe it's Jules. So I push the boundary there.
Exactly. I think that's exactly it. I think Well, I mean, Rue, she says in the beginning of this episode that she gets high because like she doesn't feel anything.
Yeah.
And that's what she likes. That's the feeling that she's searching for. Whereas it seems with Elliot, he's not feeling things, but he doesn't want that. When he's with Jules, he wants to feel what it's like to be with Jules.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas with Rue, yeah, she just likes kind of the numbness. And Jules is picking up on that. Like she's noticing that Rue's checking out.
Completely numb. I mean, going back to the first scene where she's like faking that orgasm, it's like that is how numb she is to her, to everything.
Yeah. So Elliot is seeing Jules in this light of like, okay, she's worth giving up this, drugs for. She's worth it to me. Whereas I don't know if Rue will do it.
Rue has, she's still working through. I don't know if she's going to be able to transcend the thing that is why she's continuing to do drugs. And she's still trying to get over her father who died, that's going to be something that we apparently that she's never going to be able to get over. I mean, it's still so,
which that's okay. I don't think I could ever get over that either.
Oh yeah, no, of course not get over, but it's how do you come to terms with it? How do you accept it? Acceptance is it's not easy, and it's, but how do you cope with it too? It's something that she has had to deal with that the others haven't. It leads to Rue finally basically kicking Jules away from her, right? So they're like in the car, they go to the liquor store, they steal the White Claw, and Kramer, the whole thing with Kramer being robbed. And I like that the shot as they get back into the car, it's like a very quick shot, but it's like they mount the camera on the door and Elliot closes the door and then they're peeling away. And it's like so well timed that the guy Kramer like smashes the window and they get away. So that was fun. But then Rue like rejects Jules, basically saying like, I can't fucking stand you. That's what she says. And so she leaves and she's driving everyone away. That's the behavior that you do, which is a bummer for her. She gets into her room and it's just like she's in her own cave. Yeah.
And then continues to go deeper into the cave when she takes 4 of those.
Oh, that was, that like hurt me so much. I felt that where she just goes into that briefcase or the suitcase and just like, dumps out just however she's not keeping track. She has to keep track of every single one of those pills.
I was going to say, wait, is that the briefcase
or the
suitcase that she got to sell?
Yes. Yeah, that's the stash from the woman who said, don't screw me over because I'll sell your body to. Yeah, she's getting high off her own supply, which you never do.
Oh, no. I mean, I'm not a drug dealer, but I feel like that's rule number 1 is
I'm no drug dealer.
Don't do your own supply.
Don't get high off your own supply. That's rule number 1, and she's hurting.
So that said, though, my favorite scene of the entire episode, which maybe you agree, is that scene of her going in the church. Like she sees the light. She's in this now drug-induced fever dream.
Yeah.
She's in this gospel. She sees her friends and family and other people in the pews. The composer of Euphoria, Labyrinth, is the one singing. He's like the gospel singer, which is a really cool cameo.
Yeah, I didn't know what he looked like. He was always like behind the camera or never, on screen. It's just his music, and to see him singing and like, dude can sing.
Dude can sing for sure. And just that whole scene was so powerful. So powerful. Her hugging him, and then you cut to Rue hugging her dad. And those are still, as like beautiful as they are, made up. Like that's all in her head.
Right. That actually, I just thought of this ties to, they did that as well with Cal when he's in the bar and he's hugging the guy he's dancing with, and they do the 360 degrees, and it's the best friend from the last episode. So it's like a transference of their, like, who are they trying to remember?
Right.
Their past. And
the projection.
Yeah, just the projection. That was really powerful. I forgot that that was her dad, but then you reminded me, oh, he's wearing the maroon hoodie, which that's like the classic Rue costume, you know, wear it for Halloween. That's her.
Yeah.
And the guy, the Labyrinth, like the singer, was also wearing a jacket that was in that same maroon color. So like they were teeing that up for sure.
And the song that he sings, some of the line was, Lord, you know, I'm tired.
Yes.
And that was just so spot on with Rue at that moment in her life. Like, she is tired for as young as she is and how much life she has ahead of her. She's tired because she puts herself through so much unnecessarily. And we all see that as the audience. Like, we're telling her, oh, just go to sleep, girl. Like, don't pop pills right now. Like, go to bed. It's probably 2 a.m. Go to sleep. But she just can't.
Yeah.
That's just her DNA right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's a great line in the song that you picked up on. It was tough. Super tough. We had more shots of the scene of Maddie's birthday. I think we kind of touched on all of that. Nate getting into the hot tub. I mean, we just talked about what happened there, but I love that line where he gets in the tub and he's surrounded by the friends and he's just so like, he just doesn't want to be there, or he's not putting any energy in. And someone asks like, so are you guys?
It was Cassie.
It was Cassie who
I think she wanted
Maddie
to poke, and she was like, "So are you guys together?
Are you guys together?" And Nate says no, and Maddie says, "I was going to say no, but why are you saying no?" And that triggers this thing where Maddie, like, and you follow her logic. It's totally. No, I'm the one who gets to say no. When I say no, it means something different. And Nate's just sitting there, just so.
That was so definitive. Why did you say it like that?
yeah, it was like that was so quick too. So that's so Cassie. Totally unhinged.
We have to also talk about the fact that Elliot finally came clean with Jules. And told her, hey, Rue and I are not sober, but I want to be the one to tell you. I want to be honest with you. Yeah.
And that's when Jules is throwing herself at him, basically. I don't know where Elliot's parents are, but like, you know, they're no parents, no adults. It's just like, come over, take a shower, and just like start, you know. Hooking up.
But who knows what's going to happen with that? I mean, she left. She's heartbroken because she wasn't betrayed by one person, but now she finds out in a double betrayal. You know, who does she trust now? Because the two people she thought were her best friends and closest to her are high.
Yeah, that's true.
That's going to be interesting to follow. And
so many great shots of close-ups in this episode, and the shot where Jules is in the shower and the water's just like streaming down her face was just like so beautifully shot. And then like Rue, when she takes when she like pops those pills and her face, it kind of like overcomes like this light, this like blinding light that then she follows and goes into the church. But I guess what I was going to say was that I like how Jules in the shower, all this water is like kind of rushing over her. And then when she's told that Rue is getting high again, that there's just like a single tear that drops like as well. So it's like, it's just, this like rush of emotion and sadness that she can't escape.
Right. What I kind of noticed, so it does rain in this episode. And I'm wondering if it rarely rains in LA. I mean, we're from LA. We know firsthand when it rains, we're like stoked. But metaphorically, I'm wondering, okay, it's raining. Is that kind of a premonition of, okay, we're clearing the slate. We're going to start again. We are washing away all of the hurt that has been spilled in this episode. Like Cal cursing out his kids and his family.
God damn. That return home.
Awful. But like, I wonder if this episode, just to quickly kind of end it, like, I wonder if this episode was everyone getting this all out. And then the rain is just, okay.
Right. Or maybe this is the start of the storm.
Exactly. Or this is the brewing.
Maybe this is just, bad weather ahead and batten down the hatches, because like, who knows where it goes from here, especially with Cal too. But
true. Because it had to be purposeful. That's kind of my point, is like, it rarely rains here. Rain was a choice. Right. And I wonder if it's a sign of, okay, like let's wash this away, or, oh, this is just the beginning. storms a brewing.
Right.
Be prepared for like the hurricane that's going to come up next.
Yeah. For some reason, I think it might be the latter.
Yeah, I think
feel
so
like
too,
we're
actually.
in for some gloomy weather ahead.
Yeah.
So that pretty much takes us to the end of the episode.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
With
there was a
Cal.
little bit about Fez kind of getting like the Mouse's baby mamas asking questions. The guy who Ashtray came at with a hammer, in case you forgot. Oh, you know what? I just saw on my notes, and just to touch on the thing about like the water or the rain rather that was in this episode, I made a note that throughout the episode you heard these wind chimes. Did you pick up on that? Okay,
yes.
So that I think is a very like a weather is like a metaphor here. Like the wind chimes are starting to indicate that like, shit's gonna, go crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. You were there. So yeah, that takes us to the end. I think we'll talk a little bit more about Cal and that whole final scene with some of these final categories that we're going to touch on.
Yeah.
But just to recap the recap, Lauren, did you have any favorite moments from the episode? Whether that was a favorite scene, favorite line, favorite character?
My favorite moment, I think, has to be the gospel like fever dream scene with Rue hugging the gospel singer and then cutting to her dad and then hugging him again. That was just so powerful to me.
The fact that they were able to, and they took it to that like fantasy place once again. Whereas the last previous episode and some of the other previous ones in the season was like they were more fantasy based in the episode. This one, they really like brought it back down to just what was happening in real life. But sort of. I mean,
the beginning was
a quick sort of montage, but that was the only moment that I think was like truly imagined. So that was great.
Right. Yeah. That was my favorite, I think, for just how beautiful and how touching and heartbreaking it was. And I wasn't expecting it. Yeah. So I think that was mine. What about yours?
I think I would agree but that leading into basically just the final montage of the episode where it was essentially that, but it was also showing the other characters too. There was that shot of Cassie surrounded by all the flowers as well. Just beautifully shot, beautifully staged. The push in on like the picture and that music too, like whatever that music was in that final montage, which I think it was just, banging score by Labyrinth, because I couldn't find what exactly it was, but Euphoria knows how to do a montage better than like anyone. And that one was just like the best. It's like, it's stylish. It looks like it's a magazine shoot or something, but it's also dramatic. And I just loved the montage. I'm like, okay, this is the Euphoria I know, not like any of the more silly moments or lighthearted, so I loved that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Totally.
All right. So a lot of the music in the episode, is some of the best like in TV right now. Did you have a favorite needle drop, a favorite song choice in the episode?
I mean, not to sound like a broken record, but whatever song that was in the gospel church scene, I loved.
Labyrinth killing it.
Labyrinth was killing it. Yeah, it worked. Everything worked. I tried Shazamming it and I couldn't get a hit. So I want to say it was an original piece of music that was made for the show. Hopefully it'll come out on Apple Music.
That's the only streaming service we support.
Yeah. So, or if anyone knows in the comments, please drop it in there, because I'm probably going to rewatch the episode just to record it on my phone and listen to it on my own. It was really good.
It was great.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. I loved that song. I hadn't heard it before. It was that acoustic song, that folk song in the beginning of the episode where they were going through all of the montage of Brokeback Mountain, Titanic.
Oh yeah. Right.
It was just that acoustic song called Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child.
Yes.
Or no, you know what, rather, I'm sorry.
That was the birthday.
That was the birthday.
Yeah,
I'll Be Here in the Morning by Townes Van Sant.
Yeah.
That was just a great song. I'd never heard it before. Yeah. Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child by Mahalia Jackson, who's like a legend of soul music, was also fantastic.
Perfectly placed too. I loved that.
Yeah, I liked, but I think my favorite one, besides, I'm listing a bunch, but it's like, how can you not? So James Blake, right at the end, he gets a special song put in there that I've never heard before.
It's new. I think it's for Euphoria.
Really?
Yeah, in the end credits.
Oh, so that's great. But let me just like actually give an award too. I loved Can Vitamin C. And it's the song that Elliot and Jules and Rue are playing in the car, and they're driving, and it's basically countering Cal, who's like still blaring In Excess. And it's that song. It's like, hey, you're losing me. Like, they use that in Inherent Vice, which I love that movie. And I love that song choice. That's how they open up Inherent Vice. If you've never seen it, go watch it right now. Yeah. And then, Jonathan Richman, I was dancing in the lesbian bar. That was just such great song choice there. Anyways, I've gone on too much. A lot of great music in this episode. Most what the fuck moments. Did you have one moment where it was the most WTF? There's a lot.
There is a lot. I will say one what the fuck moment, not for like it being so crazy and outlandish, but one that actually hurt my heart was when Nate gets to Maddie's house for her birthday, knocks on the door, Cassie opens, and immediately he says, "Is Maddie here?" And just the look on Cassie's face. Oh, ouch.
Yeah.
And that, knowing she's in so much pain and knowing that they just had that talk and knowing that he knows how much he means to her, to not even say hi, just knock, knock, knock. Is Maddie here?
Right.
Hurts. And so that's one I would say is like, what the fuck? Not like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like accusatory, like, come on, bro. And then that just reminded me of when she puts on that like skimpy pink bikini and walks down the stairs. Kat has the best line of the episode, and she's walking to the jacuzzi, and Kat says, just like from like the last sentence of the scene, she's like, well, that was certainly a choice. It's like, nailed it.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Most WTF moment is Cal coming home, with with his junk out, and he pisses on the floor, and mom and the sons come home. And what movie was it? I'm not sure if you're asking Inherent Vice, which was the song by Can, Vitamin C, which I absolutely love. That song opens that movie. If that's the movie you're talking about. If not, drop me another comment, please. I'll clarify. But Cal walking back in with the bandage, and he's just Joker laughing the whole time. Like, dude, what is so funny, bro? Like that, he was carrying that the entire episode. He's kicked out of the bar for life, and he pisses on the floor, and he has that whole monologue where, I do have to say, not to his credit, but he is the only person who, through this deranged way of just not being able to hold himself back, he has this macho moment where he's like, confesses to the whole thing. He says, he says, I'm lonely, right? I feel lonely.
Yeah.
And he says that he, has had sex with men. He says that he's had sex with women, that he's had sex with transsexual people. And it's like, he's finally coming clean, but he's doing it in like just insane
the worst way. Because also when he's on the staircase, he looks at his wife and says, "You're my biggest regret."
Yeah. Did he say that to the kid?
Was it Nate?
I think it was Nate. I think he said it to the kids.
He said it. Well, he said, "You are my biggest regret," and then it cut to
I think it was Nate.
Was it Nate?
Yeah, because he kind of like says all that stuff to the wife. He says it about Aaron and about like his weird.
Okay, that would maybe make more sense.
And then he turns to Nate. He says like.
So I thought it was the wife only because she got pregnant, and that's why they're together. And that's kind of what it said in the last episode of like, oh, okay, now I need to be a straight white man because now I have a child on the way. But if it was Nate, that just adds to the pressure that Nate's under.
Right.
And how awful to hear.
That was the first moment, and they did it really well, where Nate, Jacob Ellerdy, like playing him, like really looks hurt. He doesn't have anything to say. They end the shot where he's behind the window. He looks like he's in this like prison. Right. It's like, he's not the macho guy. He's being yelled at by Maddie. He's being yelled at by his dad.
Cassie.
He's yelled at by Cassie. He's just taking on all of this rage, and he doesn't know how to handle it. So that is just the most insane shit that I've seen Euphoria pull today. Takes the family photo and says like, I'll see you later.
That was interesting. I was going to bring that up. Like, I wonder why he's taking that picture. Because if he wants to kind of forget them and if he wants to really leave the past behind, why would you take a family picture?
Yeah.
Like a framed massive picture from the wall.
That's a great point. Was he like stealing it from them, or did he really just
Like
want one last thing to remember them by?
Yeah,
there's a good comment here, and it says, end of last episode, Cal asked Nate about the disc. Yes, he did. In this episode, we never got the answer from Nate. Did Nate lie to Cal? So Cal doesn't know where the disc is.
Right.
He never really like followed up with Nate on
Right.
it. It was 2 episodes ago where they tee it up like who has it.
Right.
And Fez doesn't have it. And then that's where it comes out that Nate is, had the relationship with Jules, and that's kind of enough to just make him unhinged. So maybe Cal doesn't even care anymore. Maybe he's just going bonkers. He's in like Looney Tunes land.
Yeah. Well, and it could be just a hit to his ego. The fact that he confessed all this stuff to Fez when Fez had no idea what he was talking about. So the fact that he willingly shared the secret. Yeah. Maybe at this point he's like, well, I've already told now, like this guy knows. Who is he going to tell? Might as well just like, who cares?
That's a great point. It's like, who cares? Like the disc doesn't even matter because I've already,
I've admitted this out loud to a stranger.
Right. Yeah. Wow. That's a great point. So,
but I wonder, to this comment, I wonder if that is going to come back up, or if anyone is going to get hold of the physical copy, and what will happen if that is the case.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I hope we get, more of, less of the high school play.
Less of the drama.
Although I would kind of do want to see if the play was to like and I'm thinking about like Rushmore right now, like how Max Fisher stages like the whole like I think he stages like Apocalypse Now or something like in the movie, and just to see how insane a high school play could be staged with like Cal coming back home, laughing, his wangs out, and like, talking about the disc, like, the parents are like, that was interesting, honey.
Was expressive.
That was expressive. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Did you have any memeable moments that you thought from the episode were, like something that you could, just.
One that memeable, but not really funny. I think this meme, I'm going to go a little bit more inspirational meme. Sure. Where
exist.
Where Maddie is talking to Kat at the birthday, the one scene that Kat has, and Kat saying like, oh, I don't, aren't you supposed to feel good in a relationship, or blah blah blah.
Right.
And Maddie says, do what feels good to you. And it's very simple, but I could see that being like a good. I have 2. That's one. I just thought of another one.
That's fair. Internet's a big place.
2 memes exist in my universe. So that's a nice one. That's like, do what feels good to you. Like girl power. You're in charge of your own life. But then also my other meme would be just a bumper sticker that says, awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Just you can say that to anything. Yeah, maybe that's it. I think Rue just saying awesome to anything is it. I was gonna say something, but I feel like that's a good one.
Oh, what was yours? Did I step on yours?
No, I didn't even say it. But that's better. I don't know. I just liked how I love Nate's line delivery of what the fuck in his bathroom.
Yeah.
Like how he built that up and said that.
Right.
You could just put that on, so many pieces of tragic information or news. So that was good. And then a lot of the opening montage stuff too, now that I'm thinking about it, like how they were, like you could put Jules and Rue like in all of the different Brokeback Mountain and Snow White or Sleeping Beauty.
Right, Sleeping Beauty. I think I said Snow White earlier.
Oh, I might.
Or the thing with what was it? The Sleeping Beauty. It's like I give you consent.
Yeah, yeah. It was that written letter of like, basically saying like with like one true kiss, which I guess gives you my consent or something.
Right. That was funny.
Yeah. Okay, and then predictions for the next episode. Do you have? I mean, here we are with Cal walking out on them. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with him? I could see him maybe taking a beat, maybe not being in the next episode, and just this focusing like on Nate, who I think is totally at his like tipping point, and now he is at like the crosshairs of Maddie and Cassie, and like what has happened with his family.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think Cal needs to like take a breath, needs to kind of like check
Yeah.
out for this episode.
Yeah.
And I think that we're going to get something with Nate. But then of course, yeah, Jules and Elliot, do you think that Jules and Elliot will, come together in the next episode? Do you think that she's going to choose sides between both of them, neither of them?
I kind of think she's going to go with Elliot because he was honest.
That's saying something, yeah.
And even though it's not what she wanted to hear, and it's hurtful, the fact that he was upfront about it will ultimately give her the reasoning to think, oh, I can trust you.
Right.
And I think she will come back to him before she goes to Rue.
I think that that's a pretty, accurate look. She has never been honest with her at this point.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's saying a lot.
Right. Well, what about, okay, so Fez. First of all,
oh, sure.
Fez and Lexi, what happened to that?
Well, they've kind of taken a side story.
Yeah.
I guess she's still crashing at his place, but yeah, we got that one line where the dude bangs on the door, comes in and says that, oh shoot, the guy who you killed, I guess, like who basically like mutilated with the hammer,
dashed his face in.
His face in. The baby mama is asking questions, and so
Right.
Fez is like, oh crap. So now he's in hot water.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, he will be featured in the next episode for sure. This was a bit of a, him and Faye had a bit of
Who
a
thought Faye would be, going
in every episode. My God.
She has been. I feel like that's just like a funny like Barb in Stranger Things, like like where's Faye, like, and she's in the series now, but
Right.
It's funny that she is such a prominent part, and who knows, maybe all of this will come to head where Faye plays a very essential part in all of this.
Maybe.
What else can happen?
Yeah. Well, so Rue, I mean, we have to kind of just think about where do we think she's going to be in the next episode,
Right?
Because she, from what I gathered, maybe she had like a weird overdose.
Interesting. You think that she might like wake up just like totally out of it or needing medical attention? Or?
Possibly. I mean, before she cuts to the church gospel scene, there's this white light that shines on her. She's not dead. I would bet money that she didn't die.
Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah.
But she gets this white light and she kind of has this, epiphany moment, and then she's in the church and we don't see her back in reality. Well, no, we do. At the very end, she's standing kind of in her room like this. But
right.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. I feel like she's going to wake up from like a really bad trip, and maybe she's overdosed and maybe came out of it on her own or not. I don't know, but I feel like she'll be alone.
Yeah. And then like, you can only imagine that. How is she going to respond to this? It's like, oh, I feel shitty. Let me just make myself try and feel not shitty by taking more drugs and continue the cycle. And if it doesn't end in like an actual medical, like she needs actual like medical attention, the hospital, then she's just going to be a shell of a person. Yeah.
Well, hopefully Ollie is back in the next episode and just kind of, Rue.
He's tried that before, and so she's made her own way. But I think that tees us up to next week's episode 5, which we hope you guys come back for. I think that's all we have for this episode.
Yeah, halfway done. We only got 4 more left.
Yep. 4 more episodes. Hope you join us for all of them. On behalf of my sister Morgan and myself, my name is Ryan. We're part of the Hollywood Critics Association. Give us a follow on YouTube if you can, you want to check out other recaps from other shows as well. If you guys want to continue the conversation here, drop it in the comments or find us on our socials. Again, you can find us on Instagram. We run a movie review website called Cinemacy. Twitter, Cinemacy Speaks. And, don't forget that today's episode was also in part brought to you by the Happy Labs. They're a CBD company based out of Manhattan Beach, California. Again, that's just CBD, no THC, no psychoactive part to that. It feels, like this is something that I think has a very beneficial tool to help you, watch this episode or, do any number of activities with a very relaxed, restorative sense. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you're interested in trying it for yourself, you can get 20% off with the code HCA. And if you end up trying it, let us know what you think. We'd be, curious to hear your thoughts.
Thank you so much for joining, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Ciao.
Adios.